Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Still my little choppiness. I'm not sure why there's a little lag. Again, I think something's going on. Usually OBS. Well, no, now it looks fine. I don't know what's going on. Hello, I'm Sean. I of How to RPG. I stream every Saturday morning at 8 a.m., not p.m., 8 a.m. Central Time live here on YouTube, where I talk about the week's happenings in the RPG hobby, specifically print news, any topics for the week, as well as crowdfunding things that are happening, and whatever else is brought to the chat. Honestly, so. Ryan West. Ryan, you're the first one. Bonus 50 XP for you, sir, ma'am. Hope you and your wife are feeling better. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. What Ryan is referring to as the mighty COVID, as we have experienced that. Hey, Kelly. Good to see ya. Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't know if you've had it. It's none of my business, but I've literally felt it's like every couple hour thing, like fine for a couple hours, not fine for a couple hours. It's very strange. So I know it's very, it affects every person individually in different ways, but what's up, Wayne? Doing much better as I stand here today, but it's weird because I was just mentioning, like, give me an hour and it's just, then I'll get congested and feel like garbage, and I don't know. I'm better, much better. Feel more myself. One thing that I've noticed, I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's from being sick. I don't know, honestly, what the issue is. But my ambition has kind of fallen a little bit. Like I haven't played an RPG. Like we've had some RPG scheduling snafus, and it's like, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like playing. It's not a big deal, Dodge a bullet, Ryan. But the family's been vaccinated several times. Yes, so we have too. We've been vaccinated, boosted. Like if it's out, we've got it. And in 3 years, that was a stint. At least 2 years, 11 months, and like 2 weeks since lockdown. So I was wondering when I would get it, and I'll tell you the key. Don't go to a place where you got to be in people's faces. Like I went to conventions, I've flown on airplanes, I've gone through airports, traveling without a mask. I don't know, to each their own. Some people are like, I would never do that. That's fine. And I did a couple times, and my first few times I traveled back in 2022, I wore a mask. When I was on a plane, but there was one trip I didn't. Was fine, no issues whatsoever. Go to one party where loud music, and that's all it took. So yeah, and I think that hit probably, well, let's see, at least 4 or 5 people, 3 or 4 people from that party specifically. So yeah, do not recommend. Anyways, feeling better. Back, I streamed last week, and I was okay. Like, I feel as well as I did last week, Saturday. But there were a couple times during the week where I was like, ugh, this is gross. So anyways, enough about my health. How's everybody doing? Good morning, Tad. Good morning. Good to see everybody. See me grab my water. I got up a little earlier than normal and got a coffee at the local donut shop. What are you gonna do? What's new and exciting in RPGs? What's up, Nubis? Good afternoon. To you. The Delta Green. So I'm a Delta Green fan. Delta Green's Kickstarter is starting to come together. A lot of people receiving their conspiracy books for you folks that aren't in the loop on that. They had a big Delta Green Kickstarter, re-releasing some classics. And the conspiracy book is specifically for the 90s era, I think. And I don't know if it's original, like the original kind of take and then converted to the newest version. I have the PDF and I started reading it and I'm not even sure. Like it's been publicized as the era for the 90s, but I think you could literally just, I have to double check. The only reason it's kind of weird is because if you buy the original Delta Green, it's got some of that history in it. I don't know. I haven't read that much into it, but it's talking about the 90s and I think it's an interesting era during Delta Green. So it looks like a great book. I am waiting for mine to come because I'm getting all mine at once because I got the big package. So I think some of the folks that just ordered that book on the Kickstarter are probably starting to get theirs, or they're opting to have everything sent as it becomes available, which will kill them in shipping eventually. But hey, that's okay. Is Delta Green set in the 70s or is it different decades depending on the scenario? Yeah, that's a good question, Nubis. So I will tell you that, like the Handler's Guide. What is going on here again? The Handler's Guide is all history and all about Delta Green. And it started with the raid on Innsbruck. That's where like Delta Green has first like talks of it began. So it's an altered reality, right? It's officially put into place. Harrigan might note this too. After like World War II, I think. Like, but the roots come from the raid on Innsbruck and the cover up, essentially. So you can set it anytime you want. And there are different scenarios that are set in different decades or years, right? However, you don't need to set it in that era unless, of course, there's a technology piece or a history component that would make it not make sense. Like PX Poker Game is a Air Force base one. And, you know, if you have that set too early on, it might seem a little weird, but I hope that helps. Jason, good to see ya. Michael, Chris, good to see ya. Glad everybody's showing up. Awesome. So, yeah. Oh, did I say Innsbruck? Sorry, Innsmouth. Thanks, Phil. Innsmouth. Yeah. I've been to Innsbruck. I have not been to Innsmouth. From the raid described in Lovecraft, the shadow over Innsmouth. Yes, the FBI coming in at the end. Right, yes. But the Delta Green, like, organization doesn't come into play until a little after that. But that's kind of where the roots stem from. And then, of course, it is an elaborate history, but you can sum it up very succinctly. Like there's a lot of details. There's a lot of like this person was in command and then this person took over and then, you know, they splintered and da 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 da. So, you know, just essentially think of it as an organization to combat the Lovecraftian horrors that plague quote unquote real modern life, right? Since the raid on Innsmouth. But the nice, I don't know, man, I'm just a big fan of Delta Green and I know it's not everybody's jam. And Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu and Delta Green were very lost on me growing up. Like I just never jammed on it, never played it, had heard of it, but with like zero interest. Um, and had always been kind of an espionage guy, and I don't know why it escaped my notice. Um, it could have been a popularity thing. It could have been some of the people I ran with as far as circles goes. Um, I know my buddy Jeff to this day is not a big fan of Call of Cthulhu. His son played quite a bit, and but the thing about Delta Green is not only it's not espionage necessarily, but you play agents of Delta Green or friendlies of this organization. It's a clandestine organization. Consider it like it doesn't really exist. It's not an official program, depending on the era. Because it is an official program at one point, and then it's not, and then then they bring it back. So it's yes, they really released first scenario, the Convergence. I have it set in the 90s. We'll kick agents in the nuts. I have that, Phil. I mean, I'm getting all the PDFs that they're releasing, and then I went in all on the Delta. I'm the $300 guy. Yeah, so I'm getting all the hardbacks, all the PDFs, and some of the all the reprints and stuff. So the vibe is growing on me. Yeah. So the thing is, Nubis, is it's protecting humanity from itself and from the chaotic horrors that are. But there's also a faction that kind of splintered off of Delta Green called Majestic. And Majestic is, if you've ever seen some of the movies where it's like, hey, we have to rid the evil, and then there's one crazy mad scientist that says, no, we have to embrace it and research it, and it's something we could bend to our will. That evil, chaotic scientist is Majestic. So you have Majestic that thinks, hey, we can learn from its technology, and then they try to make deals with, these crazy things. So Delta Green and Majestic are butting heads, but still flying underneath the public eye, of course, right? Because both will suffer. Delta Green is trying to protect humanity from it. Majestic is just trying to protect itself from, public scrutiny and publicity. But with the advent of the newer game, which includes bonds, I don't know if the older one did. I don't think so. You can offset your sanity by reducing your connection with your bonds, and your bonds could be, a club, it could be a personal family member or colleague or anything, right? Something that grounds you as an individual. And as time goes on, and as you get sucked into this conspiracy and you covering up and becoming part of that conspiracy, it wears on you as a human being, and it just whittles you down into a shell of a person, right? You'll eventually either go insane, you will lose all empathy, and you might become overly obsessed with the task at hand, whatever that looks like. But it is really the downward spiral of an individual. So it's not like where you call Cthulhu, it's like, oh, you play and you uncover and you investigate and then you go insane and you die. Oh, okay. Right? Delta Green is not so nihilistic that way. I mean, it's got parts of that, but that's the thing. Did I play Top Secret? I did, Tad. So when I grew up, some of you guys might not know this because some of you guys didn't listen to Gaming and BS, and it's been a little while. But when I grew up, to give my background and a little bit of history for those of you not in the know, I'll try to make it quick, and I won't go through the whole long diatribe. It all started back in very early. I started AD&D, and I don't remember how I got into it. There was a D&D club at school in junior high. Nobody in my class was a gamer. And I grew up in a small village outside of Madison, Wisconsin. Literally a village, 1,000 people tops. My graduating class in that village, had I stayed there to graduate in my high school years, I think they had like 26. So pretty small. Uh, Take that growing up, and then in that town, I mean, if the older kids befriended you, great. It wasn't uncommon for us to hang around with older and younger kids, whatever. Um, the dynamics of that. So my friends, a lot of my friends in the gaming space were a lot older, or were older, and so if I were in junior high, there were high schoolers that I had known that were gaming. Apparently, there were some guys that I knew, I didn't know they gamed, and then a friend of mine kind of was on the outskirt of that and had their own group, and that's how I got into it. So I started playing AD&D when I was 13. It was my first game. First role-playing game book was the Advanced D&D Player's Handbook. Okay. From there, my buddy Jeff, who that I've talked about on the podcast and still keep in contact with today, and my buddy Joe and my buddy Dustin, who's kind of not been overly gaming lately, and then a couple others that have kind of faded off. The go-to games after starting AD&D were Top Secret and Star Trek, fastest Star Trek. So those were the three games in the rotation. So if it felt, it depended on the mood, it depended on whose game was whose forte. Like Dustin he was always an AD&D guy, like a D&D dungeon master. So if we wanted to play Top Secret, then I or somebody else would pick up the reins as the administrator or the game master for that game. So those were the three. Like we had Star Wars D6, we never played it. And my buddy Jeff had Space Opera, never played it. And that was kind of it for a long time growing up. And second edition came out. And I had moved a couple of times in my high school years. My sister got sick. Instead of having me sit at home by myself, my mom sent me to my aunt and uncle's in another town, and went from a class of 26 people to a class of like 226 in one class. So a school of like 800, which was a little bit different from what I was used to in a suburb of Milwaukee. So, and there I didn't play. Like, I'm not telling people I play D&D. Are you kidding? And I hung out with some of the cool guys, if you will, because my cousin went to the same school. So role-playing games at that point, probably around when I was 17. By 17, 18, I was pretty out of it for quite a while. And even when I was in the military the first time, and I got to put some dates with this, 1990, stationed overseas, I knew guys like walking by, they were talking about playing D&D, and I just kind of laughed and thought it was kind of funny, right? Cool Sean, making fun of him. And I didn't make fun of him, but I just kind of rolled my eyes. I should have probably asked to play, honestly. So we played a little bit of AD&D second edition right after it came out, but not a ton. And that was it for like 15 years. So how'd I get back into it was my buddy Joe. So my buddy Joe and Jeff, Dustin, Randy, and Nay got together because my buddy Joe was going back in the military. So he went in. He and I kind of served around the same time, and I got out. He got out, and then he was going back in. I think this might have been stuff starting to get fuzzy timing wise, because I got out of the military and went back in as well. But I think I was done, right? Like done, 96, finished. And my buddy Joe is going back in his second time. And so we got together at a pool hall and drinking beers, to see him off. And my buddy Randy had said, "Hey, you guys should play D&D again." And we just kind of said, "Huh? What?" And he said, "Yeah." And Randy had he had a nephew. So Randy's younger compared to his sister a little bit. And then his nephew was like an adult. His nephew was like 19. Randy at this point might have been 30. Okay. So it's not like he's game mastering his 13-year-old nephew. But so his nephew and his nephew's friends. And he had been running 3.0. And he was explaining to us D&D 3.0. Like he's like, oh, there's, D&D's got a new version. It's, version 3rd edition. It's D20. The armor class is, it's got ascending armor class, and you roll a D20 and you add some modifiers, and higher succeeds is always better. It's got skill lists, and it's more intuitive, is what he said. And I thought it was a joke because there's no way that some of us were going to put aside our lives to start to role play. Like, come on, you can't even get Dustin out once a month to have a beer. How are you going to commit to a consistent game schedule? Well, we played. We started. We're like, maybe this has got some wheels. So we decided to do that, and then I was in, like, all in. So we actually played with Randy's nephews, and it was a group of like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 8 of us. 8 players, I think, at one point, and Randy was running it, and it went okay. There was one, younger player that was he would do dumb shit, and we would just be like, and then we'd all complain about it, and and then it got back to him, and then I found another group. Started Rumbling Dwarf, went to Gen Con, the first Gen Con in Indianapolis, and I was like all in after that. So that's my gaming story. And I know a lot of people have gotten out of the hobby for years and then come back and, picked it up and started in a similar kind of timeline. And when I came back, like, I think I owned the 3.0 books it was probably 3 months, and then 3.5 came out. And then the world just exploded on me. Like, what is going on in the internet and all the different games? And yeah, that's it. The rest is history, shall we say. And then we started a podcast, and I started one podcast and it failed, and then I started another one years later, and then I met many of you. So there you go. Guild of Arcane Lore, good to see you. I like Delta Green. Yeah, cool. So I played Top Secret SI also. I still have my original Top Secret. I think I have my original Top Secret SI, and I still have my Star Trek Facet books. So, and I got rid of a lot of my first edition AD&D stuff. Not all. I have the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide. I think that's it. And then a lot of shit I gave to Brett, like literally boxes of stuff that I wasn't going to touch. And I told him my only stipulation was he couldn't sell it without coming back to me first. Like the Forgotten Realms box set I just gave to him. And it was untouched. Like the map hadn't been unfolded. There weren't any chits in that, but I think I opened the book maybe twice since I owned it. The box had a couple dings, only just from moving from place to place, but yeah. Right, got a windfall. That's okay. That's all right. Ryan says, I bought the original Delta Green, but used it in Vampire Masquerade and World of Darkness. Didn't use the Chaosium rules. Yeah. What's up, Orcus Dorcas? Here again, you also don't have to put up with the party consisting of a boxer, a reporter, a gangster, an archaeologist, and a socialite who have little reason to stick together. Yeah. Delta Green provides one of the greatest conceits in all gaming for the party to work together. Yeah, for sure. Nubis, the bonds aspect is a large part of what draws me to Delta Green, while Call of Cthulhu doesn't really tickle my fancy. I'm not a fan of the 20s either. Core system is pretty much the game, right? I've only read COC. Yeah, and I played one Call of Cthulhu game, and I remember it was Royce Thigpen from Gamehole. Like, he's the tech guy at Gamehole. And those guys, the Gamehole crew, used to go to a local game store, and they'd run games on occasion. He was running Call of Cthulhu one time, and I dropped in on it. And I was hooked only because Call of Cthulhu, to me, in my experience, comparatively speaking, offered a richer role-playing experience. Richer. Maybe not necessarily better, but just like it wasn't fighter, cleric, magic user, thief, rogue, ranger, whatever. It was different, and I liked it quite a bit, and I was sucked in. But I haven't played a ton of Call of Cthulhu. Like, I started running Masks. I still think it's a great game, but Orcus Dorcas, wow, that's a small village. Did you decide not to come back after your Rumspringa? That's funny. Funny you say that, because I actually came back when I left and came back. When I came back, I moved to Madison. My mom did. But because I came back in the middle of a school year, rather than start in the Madison school district, I actually commuted from Madison to the town that I grew up in to finish out my sophomore year in high school. And my sister's 8th grade year, junior high. And then once that was done, the following fall, or that fall, I should say. So that was the spring. And then the fall, her and I both started in the Madison school district. And she started as a freshman, new, like not knowing anybody. Because I had a car and had some older friends, I knew people that went to the school. So I kind of, looked them up and hung out with them a little bit. So I wasn't coming in. Plus I was a little older. My sister's first week in high school was like, she came home crying almost every day. I don't know anybody. I don't, just like, I don't know what to do. And then, of course, after she got into her own circles and friends, she still keeps up in contact with them. As a matter of fact, where I got COVID, I ran into some of her high school friends that I hadn't seen literally from high school, 30 some years, oh my God, how have you guys been? Anyways, Rumspringa. Hilarious. I'm guessing we're the same age in our stories are similar, Sean. 2nd edition D&D in middle school, then Top Secret, but we played Star Wars D6 and Torque. Yeah, very cool. Good morning, Larry. Hey, good to see you, man. Glad you could join us. Jason Harris, good to see you. Morning. Finally made one of these live. Oh crap! But we'll listen to on the way to my game today. Good. Hey, thanks for joining, Jason. Appreciate it. Good luck with the game. What are you playing this afternoon or this morning or this evening or wherever you are? Kevin, good to see you. Salt Heart, it has been great coming back into the hobby and seeing how it has really opened up. Still haven't played Delta Green or COC. Yeah, that's okay. There's so many games, man. Brian says, getting rid of my Birthright and Planescape stuff is a huge regret for me. Well, some of that stuff you can get in PDF, so it's not gone, right? And besides, I still am like, why do I own all this stuff? Like the AD&D books, why do I have those? I'll probably never play it again. Well, it's nostalgic. It's my first books ever. Yeah. But you know what? I could probably hardly remember a single session we played. Like, I remember certain events, like Jeff throwing his books out in the snow after one of his characters died. But like, otherwise, I mean, I remember like it was a good time. And that's fine. Like, I don't know. How do I put this? I've watched some, so I took an interest in tiny houses. Okay. And in the tiny house movement, there is a point where if you decide to go that route, you got to downsize, right? You go from your condo, your house, and then you go into like a 500-foot square trailer sized house. You got to get rid of a lot of shit. And I remember some shows where they would go, okay, they'd make piles, right? keep, consider, lose it. And some of the things that people held onto were complete. I mean, to me, it would be ridiculous. To them, it's like, it's this thing, like my grandmother gave it to me. And it's a weird association, because I think there's a lot of this in RPGs. It's a weird association with this thing. This thing, there is a connection to this other thing, right? So I have this thing my grandmother gave me, and without it, like, it reminds me of my grandmother. And I'm like, and they would say, the memory of your grandmother and the things that you think about are still there. They still exist, whether this thing exists or not. Like, just because this doesn't exist doesn't mean that the memories of your grandmother doesn't. But there's this weird association that we put on these things. And it's a very humanistic thing, like, right? Like, it's not just RPGers or, it's strange. And they would say, like, when's the last time you touched this? Like, it would be in their attic for like 20 years. And they would just go through these dusty boxes and pull it out and go, oh, look at this thing. But they wouldn't want to get rid of it, even though it's been sitting in a freaking basement for 20, 30, 40 years, because now it has this weird meaning in it, and it always has, but now it's like in their hands and they don't want to get rid of it. To me, it's so odd. And that's why I equate some of these, like, people that say, well, I'm a collector of RPGs. Okay, I maybe get that to some degree. I think sometimes they're genuine collectors, and sometimes I just think it's just their excuse of holding on to shit that they don't need. Hot take. There, I said it. And so, I have done pairings down and gotten rid of stuff. I don't know. That's my take. There you go. Agree, disagree. I don't know. Whatever. I miss anybody joining? It doesn't look like it. Okay. I live for TSR Marvel. What's up, Ty? Good to see you, man. Phaser Rip. I played Phaser Rip the first time at Gary Con, like 7 or 8. It was the Catastrophe scenario where we played members of Kiss, the rock group. Phaser Rip. Interesting system. Right, it says, I literally have the contents of half of a comic book and gaming store in my basement. Owned a shop for 4 years. Oh, yeah. So you're like, I will take a copy of that, a copy of this, copy of that, all it costs, put them in the basement. I'll probably eventually play it or sell it. That's crazy. Orcus trying to get the drop on Ryan's location. Nubis, I just call myself an RPG collector because I'll never get to play most of my books. Yeah, that's all right. Like, that's fine. That's fine. Larry says, oh, Lord, I would have a seriously hard time downsizing my instruments. Music stuff. Guitars take up much of my space. My RPG collection is due to a good culling, though. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's not like RPGs. Like, it's, hey, I own 10 guitars. You can only play one at a time or whatever. To each their own. No judgment. To me, I just go, I just want to get rid of some of this stuff. And I've done, there's spring cleaning or whatever. Like, I'll go through my closet and clothes and donate it to Goodwill and free up space and get rid of some books that I don't read. And, I'll get them on digital or whatever. And it's like literally a relief to get rid of some stuff. Like, it's stuff is just American fascination with stuff. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Chris says, when you tell people their emotional attachments are illogically, the most common response is anger. This is in response to people that don't want to get rid of stuff. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yes. It is, and not to belabor the whole topic, but I mean, there is a mental condition. Hoarding is a mental component. I think it's been, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, but I understand that it's a mental illness, and it's triggered by certain like trauma in people's lives and things of that nature, or something's happened. And it's really unfortunate. That is like the extreme, right? I've got a couple out here where I live, and it's like there's stuff that's showing up on their doorstep, and it's growing and growing and growing and growing. And it's just like, holy cow, right? Like if there's no room in their house, what does their house look like? So, but it can be a safety thing. So that's a whole nother topic, right? Whole nother thing. Let's get into some RPG stuff, huh? Like, what do we want to talk about RPG stuff? Let's see. We got some stuff. Where should we start? So happy post GM's Day. I didn't know if you knew this. GM's Day was last week, the 4th of March? 3rd of March? Somebody can correct me. I did not partake. I did not take advantage of any specific sale necessarily. I didn't call my favorite game master. Well, yeah, I guess I could probably do that. Harrigan, hey, happy Game Master Day. Happy belated Game Master Day. Thanks for running games. Wayne, you've run games. Phil, you've run games. Kevin, played a lot of games with you guys in the chat. So happy belated Game Masters Day. Necrotic Gnome cancels plans for revised old school essentials. So I saw this come up during the week. This, if you're not familiar with OSE, it's the old BX revisited and reformatted. I thought it was pretty good. Thanks, buddy. I own it. And I think the initiative for this was probably the OGL fiasco, but because in an update, Gavin Norman, known as the OSE and Necrotic Gnome, has confirmed that the Dolmenwood game will be published as a standalone game, but that plans to make a revised OSE RPG have been shelved. Why? The plans to move away from 5e and OGL content were first announced while Hasbro and Wizards were trying to push on with their changes to the OGL, so WotC is now fully U-turned on those, so the need for the new OSE has vanished. So there you go. But apparently, it also means that the Dolmenwood, which has a free-to-download Welcome to Dolmenwood OSE campaign already available, and a Kickstarter for the Fairy Tale setting plan will have a slightly tweaked OSE rule set, but none of those will affect the core old school essentials rules. There you go. Marie Kondo, the RPG. What's that? What is the Marie Kondo RPG? What are you talking about, buddy? Orca says, my group was going to celebrate GM's Day, but we had to reschedule because some players canceled last minute and we didn't have a quorum. That's awesome. Ty says, I'm not angry, just if you try touching my stuff, we will have words or more when I was younger. But unless it is my idea to toss an item, then it will not happen. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, yeah, I get that. I get that, Ty. Nobody's coming to get your books. Gun owners, nobody's coming to get your guns. Or are they? Gerpsy. They got a bundle. Did you guys know about this bundle? Let me get a link out there. I might actually get in on this bundle. So this is the GURPS 4E. There's two GURPS bundles. There's the GURPS 4E Supers bundle. And this is going to run like a minimum of $10. So get you the 4E Supers and 4E Powers books in PDF. And then if you do the Power Up collection, you get those two plus the expansions. So, and it goes to a good cause for charity. Like what is the cause here? Direct Relief, which is it's a kind of standard one I've seen on the Humble Bundle place. So Direct Relief sends protective gear and critical care medications to health workers with emergency deliveries to medical facilities across the U.S. and Canada. So if you are old school GURPSes, I thought I could get Bundle of Holding. Humble Bundle gives me the link, so I don't even get the affiliate. Trying to get an affiliate. There isn't one. What's up? Did Laramie enter? Oh, Laramie has now entered the room. Hey, Laramie. Yeah, Anubis. GURPS does a lot of stuff well, but I was not impressed with the GURPS supers I've played. Is Jason to probe? Were you not impressed with the supers you've played because of how it was run? I always want to make sure I separate the game from the game master. Hurrah! Because you could have a shitty game and have a good game master too, right? Oh yeah, finishing it. Okay, they're talking about their game. Okay. So and then the other one is the combat action GURPS bundle. And this one, martial arts, the action line, tactical shooting, and more. So I know on the Discord, people were talking about wuxia and some other stuff. And this, I don't know if somebody brought this up. Like I know GURPS have probably been brought up like, oh, you know. But if you're interested in getting another take on some action and martial arts, this may be a good bundle to pick up as well. I mean, bundles like this, you can't, if you're interested remotely, they're hard to pass up because like this is like $18, 18 US dollars. And you get 1, 2, 3, 4 books in PDF, plus the high-tech gun, martial arts expansion, transhuman space martial arts 2100 supplement, which is like 38 pages, typically $9, but nonetheless, there's a couple. I bring those up because I thought, you know, GURPS hasn't seen a lot of love in a little while, and the fact that their old Uncle Steve has got those out on a Humble Bundle is interesting to know and grab. Chris says, I wonder if people find it more fulfilling to mine RPG books or media like movies, TV, fiction, and comics for ideas. I like 2080 for that. I'm like 2080 for that. Yeah. So I think, that's a good question. GURPS books are definitely, like, I know a lot of people have, if you've read and looked at GURPS published material, it's some of the best researched RPG material that's out there on whatever the subject it is. Some people could probably do without the system itself. So I think GURPS is probably one of those good reference books games. Jason says, I was at a con and the guy running it runs a lot of GURPS, so he knew the system. The Walking Dead and Sliders games he ran at the same con were great. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe not the greatest for supers. But that's the thing, right? That's the thing with GURPS. Like, generic universal role-playing system, it's probably going to do like one or a couple things really well, but the rest it's not. That's like a system matter thing. So, yeah. So many GURPS books. So many things that probably can't facilitate super well. Plus, it was a different time. Laramie. Orcus Dorcas, paraphrase a quote from Ken Hite. Quote, it was thanks to all years of writing and reading GURPS, he was able to successfully identify the exact type of gun that shot him. End quote. Ty says, I found one yesterday. It was pretty interesting. It was a mix of super spy with psychic powers. It could be an interesting game. I'm interested to know which one that is, Ty, because I might know what it is. Is that the GURPS one? Are you talking? Chris says GURPS is probably the best for idea mining. Yeah. But it's such a small segment of the industry, for sure. For sure. I'm telling, there might be a GURPS 5th, right? That's what they're thinking. I don't know. Rumor has it. Rumor has it. Rumor has it. Let's see. GURPS. Another bundle. Mystical Throne. You guys know this one? Mystical Throne guides. I think this is a lot of from Mongoose, right? Or, oh, I'm sorry, Mystical Throne Entertainment. Sorry about that, Mystical Throne Entertainment. Celts, Pirates, Vikings, Knights Templar, Roman legions, feudal Japan, Renaissance France, Mongols, the Three Kingdoms, Pinkertons, the gangs of New York. So another bundle if you need some more PDFs in your library. Guides for games such as Savage Worlds, Legend, and Mystical's own entropic gaming system. Like the Vikings one's like $58 retail. So yeah, well actually no, the whole thing, I don't know. Check that out. Anyways. Talking about spy games, I'm still salty on Crafty Games for abandoning Spycraft for Brandon Sanderson. So is that done? Because I thought they were still working on another Spycraft, Larry. I haven't kept up, but that is my understanding. All right, this one you guys got to help me out with. The Magnus Archives role-playing game by Monty Cook Games. So this, it came up on like a news site that I came across, and I'm like, oh, what's this? Monty Cook, Magnus Archives? What is the Magnus Archives? And of course, I have no idea what it is, and it doesn't say anything on here, nor does it link to where I would actually go to find what the the Magnus Archives role-playing game is based on, although it says Rusty Quill. So I did some Googling. I hate it when people make me have to do things. And it's relational based on the internet where you can link to anything. Yeah. Horror podcast. Exceptional. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Now. So apparently the Magnus Archives is what Chris said is I didn't know it was horror. I just knew it was a podcast. So a serialized horror, Laramie says, probably 20 minutes per episode. Okay. Thank you very much. Obviously I'm one of the knuckleheads that doesn't know what it is and the rest of the world does. So there you go. Anyways, apparently Monty's going to do, which is interesting. When's the last time Monty did an IP? Not his own. Interesting, right? He's done his own and ported for 5th. I don't know. It was really good. Oh, interesting. Maybe I'll have to check it out. Sean, my take, if something makes me do my own research, I just say, well, I'm apparently not the target audience and on to the next things. But Laramie, I have to do this, or this would be very boring. Old Gods of Appalachia. Ah, okay, yeah, that would be it, even though I wasn't sure that was somebody else's IP, but I guess it was, wasn't it? Who's the lead designer? I have no idea. I don't know. It's going to be under Monty. This is just the Kickstarter page or the backer kit, because I think Monty's all in on backer kit now. And I think they announced it on the Magnus Archives website, but I don't, like, it was just like, hey, we're doing a Kickstarter and linked to here, but I don't think they dropped Monty's company. He also did D20 Call of Cthulhu. I don't count Cthulhu as IP. I mean, it is IP. I get it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's anybody's IP. Chaosium, I have my problems with Chaosium. I think if it's a public domain, it's not IP. I mean, it is. But you know what I'm saying. It's not licensing from somebody else. You do it for the pod, which is why I said I move on. Yes, Laramie. I got it, man. I got it. Bruce Cordell is there too, yeah. Bruce Cordell, Sean Reynolds, Shauna, Jermaine, all being at GameholeCon, by the way. If you're a Monty Cook Games fan, you want to meet the crew, they're all going to be there, apparently. I don't know if Sean is. I think Bruce is. Monty's for sure, and Shauna is. Also a Rusty Quill podcast. Yeah. So has Rusty Quill put out some good stuff? Dudes, I am like so far removed from podcasts. I don't know what's good out there. It's so much stuff. Like, it's like RPGs. Here, buy this RPG. Why? It's really good. Is it? What makes it good? We got to talk about a podcast, because an RPG podcast is soaring up the charts, apparently. So here is the Financial Times, because that's what we love about our weekends with Sean, is he gets deep into the Financial Times of today's, of what's going on. Who's messaging me? It's okay. All right, Kelly. So this is the fastest growing companies in Europe. And here's the top 50, where is, as long as this page renders, Cubicle 7 has made the top 200 at 192. Right here. So they are in the top 200 Europe's fastest growing companies, according to the Financial Times list of 1,000. And they were ranked 192. So cool for Cubicle 7. I've never bought a Cubicle 7 product. Guilty. But I'm also not in Europe. Not that that matters, but since they're headquartered there, it might be more accessible. Actually, with Cubicle 7, they have a pretty good distribution, right? And in the US. So that's not necessarily a thing that I'd have to be considered. Let's see, what do these numbers mean? Absolute growth rate, compound annual growth rate, revenue 2021, revenue 2018, number of employees, number in 2021, and number of employees 2018 in the founding year. Oh, we could get some interesting insight for Cubicle 7. So 14 staff in 2021. They were at 7 in 2018. Holy cow, they doubled their staff. Doubled it in less than 3 years. 4 years. Revenue 267? Is that what revenue is? Whoops. Revenue 2018 and 2021. Okay, so their revenue in 2018 was 665,000, probably euros, I'm guessing. And in 2021, it's 5.5 million. Wow. No. Sorry, misspoke. That was for Cineries. Cineries? Cinerise. Well, this just as impressive, though. 267 grand. Once I give you guys all kinds of false information. 267,000 in 2018. In 2021, it was 2.3 million. On the verge of 2.4, actually. That's okay. Growth. Wow. good to see some numbers, right? For some of these RPG companies. None of them like tell you anything. So good for Cubicle 7. I don't know why, or I didn't know they were based out of Ireland either. Interesting. The more you know. Adventures in Middle-earth is a great modification to the 5e rule set, Chris says. Larry says, I bought all C7's Adventures in Middle-earth. That's like you can't get any of that stuff now, right? Like all the books are $200, $300. Ty says, is Middle-earth anything like middle school? He, ho, 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 hey, oh, ha, ha. Taxes, man. And we're based out of, I don't know, what's some seedy, underhanded tax haven? The Caribbean? Yes, we are based out of Curacao. This is very good. Great interest rate. And Ireland. And Ireland? Ireland is the seedy tax haven of choice at the moment. Really? Haha, interesting. I would have never guessed. Antarctica. So you might want to do some research for the company, buddy. All right. Classic book covers. Classic D&D rulebook covers come to life. Back to life. Back to reality. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I have to say, I might, I don't know if I'd pick these up. I don't know. I will tell you what, though. If you're a Karl Kiesler fan, I would use these at a con for character sheets. Right? So if you don't know who Karl Kiesler is, he's a graphic artist professionally. He's done a lot of work for Savage Worlds, huge Savage Worlds fan. And he does like dioramas, you know, and he's got the terrain and stuff and does it all up really, really sweet. If you can find where he posts pictures of his games and stuff, I think probably Instagram, you will not be disappointed. And the reason I bring up Karl is because he did a Goonies versus the Ghostbusters mashup Savage Worlds role-playing game one-shot. And the character sheets he did on blister packs just like this. Except it was like Kenner. Not Jenner. Kenner. So obviously the plastic piece was gone, and then you'd flip it over and it would have the character sheet of, and the front was like Goonies, Ghostbusters, and they were really cool. Like, I'm telling you, if you put the plastic bubble pack on there with a figure in it, you wouldn't know that it was done by some guy in his basement. He does fantastic stuff. He did a Streets of Bedlam Savage Worlds game. Streets of Bedlam is very Sin City, right? Black and white and red. Jason Blair did that role-playing game for Savage Worlds. And he did all the miniatures in like gray, all the terrain in gray, and then just a little accent of red. Like there might be a lady in the scene or a figure of a woman, and you know her dress would be red. Everything else would be grayscale. It's very cool. Very cool. He's super awesome and a very nice guy, I'm told. So if you get a chance to go to a convention and Karl's there, sign up for one of his games. I can't imagine you'll go wrong. He did one game, I think it was like a super action 70s game. And I don't remember if it was the Spirit of 77 game, because I don't think that's Savage Worlds. I think it's that PBTA, if I'm not mistaken. Chris probably knows. But for that game, he did like 8 tracks. He got 8-track cases and put the character sheets on the 8-track label. Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Oh man, that would be cool. I wish I had the talent for him to do that stuff. So, um, yeah. So here you go. The Githyanki and the Ifriti. I probably wouldn't even take them out. And they're going to be. All right, so here's the details. The first wave of figures will include the Ifriti, the Githyanki from the Fiend Folio, and the Sorceress from the original basic pink box set, they call it. All these figures stand approximately 3.75 inches high and come with a single accessory. You can pre-order the figures here at Entertainment Earth for $20 each with free U.S. shipping on orders $59 or more. They're expected to arrive in July. You can check out all these figures down below. So there's going to be more to come. I would imagine they will probably have the PHB demon guy. And what else? Will they have the red box? Who knows? And if you are not, so some history, David Sutherland III had done most of the artwork back then. Errol Otis did the one for the female wizard on the basic box set. And then Emmanuel did the Fiend Folio Githyanki. And he didn't contribute any additional D&D rulebook covers. But he's still apparently doing some work for White Dwarf and Fighting Fantasy Magazine. Interesting. There you go. Brian Kurtz, good to see you. I was just reading a Savage World setting for kids called Dust Bunnies, Life Under the Couch, that Carl Kiesler did the layout and design for. Yeah, he is probably in the last 10 years, maybe, like since the demise of Google Plus, Carl has taken on quite a bit of Savage Worlds layout design. He did Wise Guys, the folks for Eric Lamoureux did, or for Just Your Imagination. They're the ones that did Forget About It, the one I used to talk about on the podcast a lot. So when they went to like a full supplement setting book for Wise Guys, the Mafia in Vegas, Carl did all that. So he's probably more involved with them since the days before Google Plus. I don't recommend pre-ordering on Entertainment Earth. The company has serious issues with pre-orders being canceled at the moment. It's an ongoing thing. Oh, good to know, Michael. It's a word to the wise, caution to the consumer. Ty says, I like how Drive-Thru RPG call PBTA AWA. Never understand PBTA. So AWE is what? Apocalypse World Expanded? Let's see. The Black Ballad draws inspiration from Dia Morte. Get back. Lose my spot. This is a new D&D 5th edition campaign. Storytellers Forge has launched the crowdfunding campaign for the Black Ballad, a new 10-chapter D&D campaign inspired by Dia Morte album of the same name. Unlike usual D&D campaigns, the Black Ballad is a campaign meant to be kicked off after the party has experienced a TPK during their normal session. Instead of dying, the party instead will go on a full campaign to explore the afterlife and the concepts of death and resurrection within a fantasy world. So I wanted to bring this up. I know many of us aren't, playing 5th edition or aren't fully invested in 5th edition, but it's a 300-page long full story campaign with new mechanics. I thought some of these have some probably interesting concepts, whether you're playing D&D or not. I thought it might be not to say you need this book to try to come up with that, unless you want to create your own wheel. But The Red Opera was, I think, the first one they mentioned was the inspiration for a D&D campaign of the same name, which was published by Scandal-Plagued Apotheosis Studios back in 2021. Oh, it's Scandal Plague. I didn't know about the Scandal. What's that all about? Anybody know? Chris S. maybe? Apotheosis Studio? What did they do? Oh, get some Popeye shrimp. Whoop, whoop. Interesting. So, there you go. I thought it might be, I don't know if I would be interested in something like that, but. Oh, AWE, Apocalypse World Engine. Thanks, guys. But since the bakers themselves say PBTA, right? Harrigan. Who? Since the bakers, I have to say, I will complete Harrigan's thoughts. If the bakers, if everything's based on powered by the apocalypse world that the bakers had come up with, I go with what the bakers say. 5ED Wraith, MK Ryan. Interesting idea, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. So if Chris is not familiar with the Apotheosis Scandal. It's a scandal. Okay, here's what I wanted to talk about before, about the podcast. Worlds Beyond Number. Orcus Dorcas, want that? The whole Satine drama nonsense? Oh, is that? Oh! Okay, now I know who it is. Now I know what it's all about. Got it. Is that Apotheosis? Oh, maybe it was. Satine who? Oh! I've met Satine. What a whole unfortunate turn of events. Worlds Beyond Number. Let's get to that. Podcast launches to huge numbers. So apparently, look at this thing. So all right. I wanted to bring this up for two reasons. One, if you like Worlds Beyond Number, the RPG, I don't know much about the podcast, but it's getting a lot of buzz. We'll talk about that in a second. Two, I'm going to bet that there are very few reviews on this podcast in the Apple Podcast Store. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there is probably a podcast in the same space that has more reviews that isn't ranked higher. And I'll tell you why. Because reviews don't increase your rankings in Apple. So stop asking for reviews, podcasters. Looking at Orcus Dorcas, Chris, stop asking for reviews. Ask people to listen to your stuff. Ask them to subscribe. Ask them to spread the word. If they want to leave a review, great, but it's not going to bump up your rankings. The rankings in Apple specifically is based on the subs. It just is. It's like n plus n times to the second power plus another n, some crazy nutty stuff where it's like if you want to get up the charts, you create a lot of buzz, you get a lot of audience, you throw out the newsletter, and you get everybody to subscribe very quickly and a lot of people, and then you boost up the charts. So please do not make me cringe when I listen to your podcast and you go, hey, want to do us a favor? Leave us a review. It helps other people find our podcast. No, it doesn't. I had to get that off my chest because when I saw this, I'm like, wow, good for them. And then I thought, I betcha their reviews. Maybe if I can find it, I'll pull it up. Worlds Without Number is the RPG. Yes, World Without Number. Thank you. Larry is correcting me. This is Worlds Beyond Number, which is out now. First episode is out now, adding more accolades to one of the most impressive launches in tabletop RPG history. And I have to say, if I read this, I would absolutely agree. Only because I've been sunk into the podcast space for a while. Like not even doing it, but just knowing that space and understanding it. The new podcast featuring Brennan Lee Mulligan, Abria, names, I apologize, Iyengar, I apologize, Lou Wilson and Erica Ishii, officially launched its first public episode this week after a few months of teases and a build-up via the show's Patreon page. That's where they got everybody to subscribe right away. Hey, we're coming. It's going to be awesome. This is what we're going to put out there. Boom. The ones that don't climb the ranks is when you do it like Gaming and BS. We start a podcast. Chris and the folks over at Misdirected Mark, very generous in saying, hey, go check these guys out. But it's a very slow trickle to like people subscribing and discovering us. It doesn't get you up the charts. It's the big, get as many people as you can. Not to mention we didn't probably have tens of thousands of people. But anyway, they cracked the top 50. So after just 24 hours, the podcast is currently trending high on Apple's podcast charts, ranking #1 on the fiction chart, beating out fellow TTRPG podcast, The Adventure Zone, and cracking the top 50 on Apple's overall most popular podcasts. As of Saturday morning, Worlds Beyond Number has reached 49th position on the top podcast charts, placing it above numerous popular news and interview podcasts. That is no small feat, let me tell you. They should get every clap, well deserved, as long as it's good. Worlds Beyond Number is also generating some major income. As of press time, Worlds Beyond Number is the 12th most supported Patreon on the website, with over 24,300 backers. That's fucking crazy. That makes it the third highest TTRPG related Patreon behind D&D and Dungeons and Daddies, and Not Another D&D podcast. I'm interested to see where Dyson falls, because I know Dyson had a butt ton. Like Dyson makes his living off of Patreon, I think. As a matter of fact, it's so crazy. Many of us know who Dyson logos are. If you're not familiar with them, he does maps, and he puts out a lot of them for free. You can just use them. Just give them credit, and they're really good. As a matter of fact, I have a mat. My desk mat is a Dyson logos map that I got off of Redbubble. And I was like, Patreon, if you have a Patreon account and you're creating and you have patrons, they send you a newsletter and stuff like that. And sometimes they'll do special events like, hey, we're going to do this talk on something you're invited to listen and this webinar or whatever. And Dyson popped up on my radar, like completely different out of the blue. And I never knew. I figured he had an own revenue generating component to his business, but I didn't know the extent of it. And Dyson was like, I don't know if he's like over $100,000 a year on Patreon. You guys could look it up. But anyways, 24,000 backers on Patreon. Wow, good for them. That makes it, I already mentioned that. Wow, then it gets buzz on here. Some of you might tune into it. It's just, what a way to go. While Worlds Beyond Numbers Patreon has been growing at a steady pace at the last month, it's likely that it will receive another surge in backers now that the episodes are available for public consumption. So what does the success mean for the state of TTRPG actual plays? So I didn't know if it was an actual play or not. Well, the podcast is certainly the largest entity into the ever-growing field of TTRPG actual plays in quite some time, and also seems to support the actual play shows don't need a streaming or video component to be extremely successful. It also shows another pathway to success in the actual play field. All 4 podcast co-creators have made multiple guest or recurring experiences on other big RPG shows before striking out on their own creator-owned work, which allowed the team to generate a sizable number of fans and goodwill before an episode was officially launched. So, these folks have been on other shows. So there is something to be said about having your own audience and then bringing it into a new venture. But I also think that it's for a game that's like, it's not D&D. It's not Pathfinder. Can you imagine what this might do for Worlds without number. Wow. Right? Fingers crossed. Dimension 20 has been hugely successful, so Mulligan and Aberia have overlapping projects, so it's more than one thing. Yes, for sure. 2,000 a month. Well, the number of followers there. $2,000 a month. Okay. I thought he made more than that. Yeah, I must have been grossly misled. Not a bad side gig though. I think. Glass Cannon Network, like I say, Craig Shipman interviewed Joel on Third Floor Wars is a great interview. Great insight into the world of how they got really big. And 2-3 guys are doing Glass Cannon show. Like, that's their day jobs. Like, how fantastic is that? Would I love to do that? Hell yeah. So there you go. I was like, wow. Part of knowing that it's this crew though is a little like, oh, because they are like, if these were total nobodies, I'd be like, what? I did the first exposure I had to Glass Cannon Network was literally the interview that Craig Shipman did. Like I knew of them, but I never listened to them, never saw any of their stuff. And then they did Impossible Landscapes, and I'm like, well, because that's the way I listen to APs. If I'm gonna run like a big campaign like Impossible Landscapes, or maybe it's an alien game, I'll listen to an alien podcast that I think sounds good or comes across the radar, just to see what they sound like or how they're running the game. Otherwise, I'm not overly like, I'm just gonna pick this up and listen to it. I'm interested in World Beyond Number only because, well, I don't know. World Without Number, I don't own the RPG. Stars Without Number, I've played. I'm not a big fan. And part of it is because it's kind of that generic, like, I was telling Mirko on our Discord, Mirko, Digital Hobbit, you guys know him as, has a YouTube video, and he was talking about his desire to stay away from IP-based role-playing games because I haven't watched it yet. I will. But my counterpoint to that was I have a hard time playing Traveler, Worlds Without Number, Stars Without Number, because I'm like, well, what is this? Like, what's the reference point? And to me, like, people would say, well, what about D&D? Well, D&D, I've had a reference point since I was 13, depending on the campaign and the setting, and even any fantasy game. Like, oh, it's like Tolkien, or it's like Beastmaster because it's swords and sorcery, or whatever. Conan. Like, there's a component of reference there to some degree that I can kind of, oh, I got it. But Travelers, like, yeah, you're in a ship and you got to pay. It's like, well, Stars Without Number. Like, you got to pay off your mortgage and do things. And there's planets and sectors and all this. And it's very great for like world creation, but it loses me. Star Wars, got it. Yeah, but Sean, you're restricted by all the canon. Yeah, but I don't need to be. Which is awesome. Harrigan. Right? It's like, I get it. I get why people love it. I totally understand it because it's freedom. Yeah, baby. Free. You know, run down the street naked, free. Got it. To me, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, it's lost. Cities Without Number is the new Kickstarter that's Cyber Shadowrun-esque. Okay, question, Ryan. Is it human-centric, or is it like trolls, dragons, dwarves? Yeah, fantasy meets cyberpunk, because I can't do that. And why would I do that when I can just play Shadowrun? Noobus, Out of Depth. Analysis Complete is a mothership campaign podcast I really enjoy. Heavily edited and sound effects and music. Good stuff. Good to know. We should have a podcast channel on the Discord, And the stipulation is, hey, this is a good podcast, but you have to state why. Because I think these like, and that's exactly what I'm looking for, Nubis. So really enjoyed it, heavily edited with sound effects and music. So if I said I don't like sound effects and music, then I wouldn't listen to it, right? It's not my jam. Perfectly get it. Harrigan says Mirko is out to lunch, though. We'll have beer soon, and I'll tell him. Oh, it is human-centric. Okay, good to know. But, on my list over, my stack over here is Cyberpunk Red. I'm getting rid of it. Like, and the Veil, and the Sprawl. Like, Cyberpunk is getting, I don't know. Excuse me. Is Without Numbers trying to be the next AWE? You mean the PBTA? Is it trying to be the next PBTA? I don't know. Is it trying to be AWE? Ty, that's never going to stick. PBTA. Next up, Cows Without Numbers. Hey-o, Wild West. Hey-o. Ryan, all of the Without Number books are released for free with a pay version with more content. I like that a lot. Yeah. For sure. AWE is too close to AGE. It's PBTA. It has been. Why try to recreate the wheel? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? All right. So after finding out what the cast was, it's brought me down a little back down to earth, obviously. So kind of disappoints me. I was hoping it was like a cast of nobodies. All right. Ian World. Check out Ian World. IanWorld.org. Thanks, Ian World, for supplying this stuff. Print news. Let's get into the print news. Adventure Compendium, Call of the Dark, Ruins of Symbaroum. So if you like Symbaroum and you like 5th edition, we've gone over this before. Out by Free League. They're putting out this is the 7 full-length adventures, everything from murder mysteries to forest expedition to witch hunts, set in cities, villages, and expanses of wilderness, featuring encounters with dark-minded cultists, roaring monstrosities, and raging abominations, ranging from level 1 to 8. Includes 3 settlements, 13 mystical artifacts, 12 color maps, and an introduction to the Pantheon of the Young Gods. If I were to run 5th edition, this setting would be at the top of my list. Jeff, you don't want to play anything else but 5th edition? No problem. We're going to put you through Symbaroum. Lake of Dust by Steve Winter and Dwarven Fiasco by what? But whose name is on there? Edwin Nagy? What? Dwarven Fiasco. Oh, I wonder. I have to tap him for this because he hit me up for some ideas, and I wonder if it was for that. I wonder if it was that one. It could be something else. Anyways, Edwin is a personal friend. I would consider Edwin a personal friend. He's come out to Gamehole Con. He's gamed with some of us. He works for, he does some work for Frog God Games, and very nice guy. He's in our Impossible Landscapes game. So Lake of Dust is an adventure for a party of 5th level characters. This is all for 5th edition, or OSR, maybe, kind of, both. Yeah, both, OSR or 5th edition. Dwarven Fiasco is a location-based adventure for a party to 4 to 6 level characters high in their cliff-faced temples. The Dwarven sages watch the plague roll in from the west. This is not the same one he hit me up for. They pooled their resources but failed to save their people. The dwarves, secluded behind their walls and cleft, survived the plague, even as it devastated the dwarven population of the northern reaches in the temple. Doesn't say his name on it, but I can make it out on the cover. Necromancer Games. Well, congratulations to Edwin for getting that out the door. Nightfell horror fantasy setting. Nightfell Bestiary for 5th edition. If you're a Nightfell horror fantasy setting person, there you go. Probably know about it. Probably have it on order. Get it, grab it. Booyah. Triune for Troika. Troika Numerous Edition is softcover supplement is $12. $12 US. Troika, a review, and Troika, an interview with Daniel Sell. Those are 2 articles to reference this. Tools that turn numerous Troika expeditions into long-term campaigns. $12. Next one, Dungeon Crawl Classics, Love Mutants of Castle Heartache by Brendan LaSalle. Oh, look at that romance novel cover. This guy's too funny. If you want to find PBTA on drive-thru, they call it AWE. Why do they do that? Why, Ty? Why? Musket, moose, and squirrel. I can do this because my wife's Russian. DCC covers are so awesome. Put that one on the list, Harrigan. He's trying to collect them all. A 3rd level Valentine adventure. Hey. Olaf V, mad ungod of mortal passion, lies heartsick after his romantic advances when ignored by the otherworldly object of his affection. Now his cosmic desolation grips the entire world, separating every lover from their other and threatening to end civilization within a generation. The only chance for mankind is a dangerous quest that will pit the PCs against Olaf V's own castle guardians, mutated by metaphysical anguish into horrifying creatures. Level 3 adventure. What's up, Kelly? I can probably do it. That's amazing. Like, it probably is a better accent that I can do of even just English, like British English accent. Tertullian's booklet of arachnid stuff. Mystic Punks, The Trial at Wyndards, and Microcircuits by Exalted Funeral. So OSE, Mystic Punks, and OSR systems, respectively. $15, $20, and $12. So that's the last one. Microcircuit sounds cool. Dungeon delving as a robot. It's a game about the PCs playing robots, delving dungeons, fighting tyranny, and upgrading themselves. Main features. 2 main stats are called hard and soft. 20 different robot designations, backgrounds. Robots' skills are defined by the parts that make them up. A loose electronic dark fantasy setting, 20 different scripts, spells, to hack into 13 different enemies, and a dungeon, the chapel of the mainframe. Sweeper. The more you know. Don't want any surprises out there. I want you to guys to know that what's out there for consumption, so you do not miss out on anything. Maybe I kind of bounced around a little bit. Let's do news. I don't know if there's any news. D&D Thieves Gallery. They statted the characters from the movie. Here's the roadmap for the D&D 5th edition. What's done, what's in progress, what's in upcoming. The last one is ensure 1 D&D rules updates are compatible with 5th edition and the SRD. D&D Beyond. Get 1 month free. Cancel anytime. So this is interesting because it does outline some of the price. So hero or master tiers of subscription when you sign up. The regular price for the hero is $2.99. $2.99 a month. And the master subscription, which adds on the ability to share purchased content with other players, is $5.99 a month. With discounts available when purchasing 6 months or a full year at once. So a full year, right? Probably less than $6. So say it knocks it down to like $4 a month. Times 12, $48. So they get $48 when they're selling maybe one hardback. Say they sell Player's Handbook for $30. And now they have them in the ecosystem. And then the next year, they lose the discount. It goes back up to $6. You'll renew. 6 times 12, $72. So if they can hold somebody for 2 years, there you go. Ty says, DCC, I am glad I have not eaten yet. Oh. DCC is awesome, buddy. Wait, did Ty just disparage DCC? Maybe, maybe not. Oh my God, get him. Get him. Just kidding. Don't get him. Yeah, he didn't like the green tongue kissing. I'm so out of yelling at Ty channel to the Discord. Next one, Journey Through the Radiant Citadel is a finalist in the Writing for Nebula Awards. Game writing category. Which I think the game writing category also includes video games, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Pentiment, Stray, and Vampire the Masquerade, Sins of the Sirens. So some stiff competition, it says. This is the 7th RPG product making the finalist list for the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association prestigious Nebula Award. Interesting. And the first time a D&D product has been nominated. There you go. Some firsts. You heard it here. Coyote and Crow dominated last year. Wanderhome. Grandma's Hand. Wildermyth. Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Were some nominations in the past. Here's the Magnus Archives. Mention that. What can you recycle? Hey, plastic sprues. Look at this. Games Workshop announced a new recycling program for all their plastic crap. Wow. 2023. That's fantastic. Great. Recycling program will begin later this month at select UK Games Workshop stores with a sprue bin, where players and miniature enthusiasts can drop off sprues, empty paint pots, and unwanted plastic miniatures for recycling. Aw, that's nice. I wonder if we still have a Games Workshop store. The closest one I knew of was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I don't know why they picked that place, honestly. Maybe they got a big Warhammer presence down there. I don't know. I'll have to check next time I go down there, which will be never. That's it for news. Wow. Right? What? Come on, paste. Just in case you want to read it. Anyway, we don't need to defend DCC. That book can crush Ty on its own. Oh, it has levels and lacks skills and isn't set on hard as so who's no likey. All right, let's get into crowdfunding news. What time is it? Look at that. Just getting through stuff. Even went through some of my history and still cooking. All right, this week's RPG crowdfunding roundup includes projects that end between March 13th and the 25th. And as of this recording, it is the 11th of March, 2023, in the year our Lord. The year our Lord. All right. Blood for the Khan. Khan! Please, everybody, when you pronounce this, blood for the Khan! on! A dark and fearful adventure in the Mornwood for levels 2 to 4. It's a 5th edition. It's 5th edition. Did it fun? $90 is the most popular pledge. Hint, hint. By Gooey Cube. Cards, maps, books, more. Here we go. 375% completed. Blood for the Con is funded. Alphinius Goo and team built Alphinius Goo and team built and are growing a rabid group of gamers that connect through their Twitch, social, and in-person at conventions. GUI fans are able to contribute to this world, bringing their passion to the finished product. If you're looking for an online 5e community, one where the creators and players are friendly and the world is an aspiring grimdark homage to the early days of D&D, GUI Cube and this project are worth checking out. So there's the angle. GUIs. So, like, if you're a fan, are you called a GUI? I'm a GUI. I'm GUI. It's not a GUI. It's I'm GUI. I don't know. Whatever. Daughter of Frankenstein. 5e campaign of horror and mystery by Bard House Media. $60 is the most popular pledge. It's another adventure. This one, it was included because of its originality. This dark setting has a lot of potential, building from the climax of Mary Shelley's signature story, Frankenstein and or his monster founded a steampunk and body horror world in the icy north. In this wintry horrorland, you're a detective investigating mutants, stolen body parts, and murder. Story-wise, this draws from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the modern Prometheus, here we go, modern Prometheus, Jack the Ripper, Resident Evil, and Penny Dreadful, while it takes RPG inspiration from Free League's Vaesen and Ravenloft. Funded, 116%. All right, next one, Bloody Appalachia. You are not welcome here. Grindhouse Rural Horror Tabletop RPG from Bloat Games. System is Survive This. Core rulebook $19 for the PDF. Did I mention this? It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre X, Deliverance, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, and The Devil's Rejects. It's succeeded its goals. How to pun. How to pun. Frankenstein. 5e. Keep your powder dry. Firearms for 5e fantasy. Nope. No. No. Keep your powder dry. Firearms for 5e fantasy. No. Just funded. 4,000%. Almost 5,000% funded. 5,000%. My goal is $1. It's 1,000,000% funded. Appalachia is a setting. I kind of dig it. Right? I don't know Appalachia. It's lost on me. You know what I know about Appalachia? The Appalachian Emergency Room for Saturday Night Live. Yeah, making all kinds of friends in Appalachia. Anyways, Grim Hollow, 5e compatible from Ghostfire Gaming. What's where Sean Merwin is, right? Isn't that where Merwin is? Merwin at Ghostfire? Chris knows. I like how Keep Your Powder Dry uses a logo with revolvers that don't require you to keep your powder dry. The irony is not lost on you. You are wise, Harrigan. Variable font of knowledge there, Sean. Something. Grim Hollow, $80. 2 new 5e books from $1 million TTRPG Kickstarter club publisher Ghostfire Gaming. I didn't know they were up there. Look at this, $374 grand. Booyah! I'm gonna pay somebody's wages. Next one. Hybrids double feature, RPG and TPB. From Luke Stone, Indiegogo. Base plus 2 system. Anybody familiar with the base plus 2 system? Well, you are today. Or now you've heard of it. This project type is core rulebook and graphic novel. $35. This campaign expands the Hybrids graphic novel to tabletop. Random people are manifesting powers before being kidnapped. Delve into a world of evil corporations as you combat superhuman trafficking. You know, I want to play a role-playing game where, you know, corporations aren't evil. They're nice. They're the heroes of the story. What's up, Eileen? See ya, Kelly. All right. Indiegogo. It doesn't say if it's funded. I should probably check, right? And have the cool logos from Indiegogo that say that it's funded or not. Oh, still got to go. $2,500 flexible goal. They're at 54%. If you're interested in that, check it out. Next one, Dungeon Denizens. That's one, DCC, Goodman Games, coming at ya. I've seen this come across my radar a couple times. Source book, $49 for the PDF and print of the DCC versions of the book. It's over 500 monsters in a single tome for 5e and DCC with up to 20 slots for backers to submit their original monsters. Oh, dude. Bonus to anybody that backs this at the level where they can submit their own monster, you should put it out for source crowding. The name. I think it should be called Monster McMonsterface. For DCC, like, would it even matter? Because you're not going to know the monsters' names anyway, because they're all off the wall. You just need to describe it. You should make the monster a role-playing gamer archetype. How meta is that? 20 slots. Those things are going to fill. You watch. They're probably already filled. You can't even probably get one. Look at that. 300 grand. Good for Joe. 300 grand of a 20 grand. Good for them. Crushing it. Yeah, Ryan says I would buy a book called Monster McMonsterface for sure. It's all in the marketing. Hell yeah. Sean, you're talking about Shadowrun. The corporations give you jobs. You couldn't get your soy calf otherwise. Oh. I had to take out the fantasy though. Laramie says DCC Denizen. I'm going to wait for retail. Save me $15 in shipping. Yeah. Good call. Good call, Laramie. Although you may be able to get the book for cheap. No, I don't know. It's the retail. Appalachian weapons based on the SNL skit would include jarts. They would. Jarts. Oh, jarts. I knew a guy who got killed by one of those. Brian Kurtz. I need some goons. Let me check out my MMCM. Laramie says, I tracked it. I spent 3 digits last year in just shipping for Kickstarters. Oh, only 3 digits? Good for you, buddy. Subversion. This has been brought up. Cyberpunk Fantasy RPG, not targeted to Sean, so Sean could go suck it by fragging Unicorn Games, who follows me on Twitter, by the way. Check it out. $25 for the PDF of the book. Core rule system. funded, 46K of a 10K goal. Now it says, unlike SR, which would be Shadowrun, okay, I'm reading into this, Sinless in the Vault, this isn't a world with a sudden return of fantasy, but it's a setting in which the Babylonian gods have always sided with the rich. Magic and fantasy have always been there, but technology is new. This game focuses less on rebelling for your own ends and more about rebelling to support your community. You don't stand alone, you are backed, and you back a community, a collective that the players create. By making fantasy elements a part of this world and pushing the concept of heroes fighting for their people against corrupt institutions, this promises something new for your gaming table. Well, I just collectively say that the player characters are a bunch of terrorists. Yeah, but you didn't see that angle, did you? Or did you? That's it. That's all this. Did I put the link to this here in the chat? I should if I haven't. So you guys can check them all out yourself. Thanks, Ian World. Thanks, Ian World, for this segment. Bringing this segment. This show not sponsored by Ian World, but probably should be. Actually, probably owe them. I think that was it. I'm trying to see if I bookmarked other things that I just didn't go over. I don't think I did. Nope, that's it. Zwiefer, are you talking low, mid, or high level 3 digits, right, for Laramie? Low end of it doesn't seem unbelievable given one product can be over 10. 10 items gets you there already. For sure. For sure. You're ordering print stuff. I think there was talks about my Delta Green thing going to be more than the actual Kickstarter. Can you imagine kickstarting a product for $300 and then having to pay $350 for shipping? What? Excuse me. Apologies as I cough into a microphone, which is very uncouth. Agua. Nectar of the gods. I don't know what else to talk about. Therefore, I probably will wrap. It was December 25th and all through the house. Not a single creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Sorry, not that kind of rap. You guys. Yeah, you guys thought I was going to rap. Wrap it up. Like the Fabulous Thunderbirds. Why the dislike of Shadowrun, Sean? Hey, man, I don't like fantasy in my cyberpunk, okay? So you keep your peanut butter out of my damn chocolate, and we'll be good. I don't dislike Shadowrun. Like, I don't have a vitriol hate, like a hatred for it. I've played it. My buddy Jimmy runs it all the time. It's because it's terrible. Harrigan, knock it off. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, and frankly, I haven't played all the editions of Shadowrun. Like, I know some people like third's the best, and you got to play that. I don't know. It's just never my. I think it's kind of cool in like it's not very. It's got a rich history, right? Isn't it come from Earth Dawn? Earth Dawn, Shadowrun, wasn't that all from the same creation piece? I don't know. But Sean loves Fate. Ty, you know, I can say this. I've played Shadowrun. I've owned Shadowrun. I've owned Fate. I've only played Fate Accelerated once, and it was at a con run by Hans Cummings, and he did Fallout Fate Accelerated. That's my exposure. So SR Anarchy is great. I owned Shadowrun Anarchy. Got rid of it. Guess we shouldn't talk about the SR5 bundle up for sale, or did we do that already? I think I did. is it there's a bundle? Did I oversee it? It's funny too because my buddy Jimmy will knock Shadowrun just like I will, and he runs it all the time. Like he's on the Catalyst Games Shadowrun convention running team. Like he goes to Gamehole Con and runs, 6 Shadowrun games. So he's played every edition, run every edition, gotten preview stuff and critiqued some of that stuff. So for those who like the Shadowrun vibe but not the system, I'd look at Lowlife 2090. Hey, Steve out to Steve Grodzicki, right? For sure. Pickpocket Press. Good call, Harrigan. Tim Jensen has entered the room. Shadowrun, Earthdawn, and Rifts were all part of the 89-91 era before Vampire blew up. Different games, similar genre. No, I know they're different games, but I thought that Earthdawn was Shadowrun before Shadowrun. Like I thought there was like a connection there, legit system, like setting connection. Am I wrong? Could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong. I forget which comes first on the timeline, but yeah, Earthdawn and Shadowrun are related. Well, obviously Shadowrun comes later, right? Because of the tech. Thank you, Ryan. See? Google suggests you are correct. Thank you, Harrigan. Thank you for confirming. Everybody, thank you. Larry says, but how else am I going to roll a metric ton of dice just to determine if I shot someone? That's the experience I want, and I hate painting minis. Well, hey, then that game is for you. Name the guy who did this in a TV show. As I point. I don't have an audio version of this anyway. Who cares? I am very much a story-based game over any other systems. End quote, Ty Prunty. Ty, you play ICRPG. Is that really a story-based game? No, I don't think so. Nice try. I would even go as far to say that Fate isn't, is it? I don't know. I could be on the fence on that one. Play Hero. I want to, if every time I play Hero, oh yes, I'm Fate. Okay. Hero. I think I pronounce Hero, it has to have that Latin accent. Latin American accent. Hero. I must play Hero. That's a movie. That's from a movie. Like you must be a hero. Larry House, didn't someone test to see if the hero core rulebook could stop a bullet? I think that's out there. Dude, Hero doesn't have anything on Beatty's book. Weird Frontiers. I always say Dark Trails, because that was the original. So I have to look at the Weird Frontiers. Nothing in RPGs has anything on that thing. You should see if he could hold the world record for thickest RPG book. Narrative rather than story. So there's the difference, right? Narrative versus story. Tim says, yes, Hero 5th edition could stop a small caliber bullet. Weird Frontiers can stop a 7.68. The definition of what a story game is slightly less up to debate than what OSR really means. Everybody should just drop like those bombs into it, like 5 chat rooms, and then just see what happens. Here you go. Whoop. Ty says, my ICRPG version, it is a story-based game because of the way I GM it. Yeah, if you have a story to tell, Ty, and doggone it, you're going to tell it, and it doesn't matter what the players do, then you are doing a story game of your own. Congratulations. Chris says, the terms don't mean anything unless for games. They're more about play style. Yeah, sure. Oh, you deleted it. Oh, too late. Booyah. It's out there, Chris. Sorry, buddy. Larry Hollis, be careful. Otherwise, we're going to start arguing over what a sandbox game is. Well, that's easy. You have to have a lot of sand, and you have to have boards, and then you get out your trucks, and you play in the sandbox. That's a sandbox game. Easy. See, Larry? Simple. Not even debatable. Is it, Sean? Oh, yeah. Well, what is a sandbox? It is a box of sand. Buckets and water to make castles. Booyah. Ryan knows the deal. Plastic shovels and pails, realities as well. There you go. Dude. T-shirt idea. Sandbox game hipster. Pail, sand, plastic shovel. Totally wear that at cons. Am I right? You guys would each buy one. Plastic sandboxes are legit too. Plastic sandboxes? Really? That seems ecologically irresponsible. I just can't. Chris says, those terms, I will correct. I will put Chris's edit in there. Those terms are about play style. I can even talk. Play style, not gaming mechanics, just trying to get rid of the typo. Oh, don't worry about typos, man. I'll get through those. Larry says, just watch out for all the link-in logs in the sandbox. Link-in logs, yes! And I thought they were like, are they Lincoln logs or are they Lincoln as in the President Lincoln logs? Cat poo. No cat poo in our sandboxes, man. Orcus Dorcas, ooh, do railroading next. Let's burn this place down. Railroading. DM has a story. What does OSR mean? What's story versus narrative based games? Yeah, let's do it all. Just when you couldn't rehash an RPG topic. Boom. The turtle or crab shaped ones. Oh, those. Yeah, that was like after my time. That was before plastics had the the spotlight they do today. Ty says, Chris, I am typo master. Phew. Yeah. I laugh because it's true. Good job, Ty. Ty is self-aware. Wayne, Sean, you could do that t-shirt with Augie. That t-shirt with Augie? What would I put with Augie on there? The sandbox one? Yeah. Ryan West. And Crown Royal Dice Bag on the Sandcastle t-shirt. Well, I can't do that because then they'll sue me for it, right? And I had to pay them royalties. Maybe just a purple bag with some gold writing on it. LARPs are the only real role-playing games. Oh. I love the grenades. I want more. More grenades. More grenades. More grenades. Stay positive in tabletop role-playing games. It's Sean's like acquiring grenades to drop into random chat rooms and discords. Hey guys, I heard people here were telling me that LARPs are the only role-playing game. Is that true? Chris says, let's not do that. Ty, Matchbox cars in, my sandbox and Hot Wheels. That's right, Matchbox and Hot Wheels. I was a Hot Wheels guy. I had a few Matchbox, but Hot Wheels reigns supreme. Chris, no one actually has a consistent definition for any of that stuff, so the words are meaningless. Or the words are meaningless. You have to give them meaning, Chris. You have to give them meaning. You do. Serious. Augie bearing something. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. Augie's too big. He'd never fit on a shirt. Brian Kurtz, Theater of the Mind versus Maps and Minis argument next. Oh, here's one better. I got one better. Ready for this grenade? It might be down below, but here's the grenade. GM screen or no GM screen. Oh, boom. As I travel through the valley on the notion. Ryan West, as always, I thank you for sharing, Sean. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. 4E is the superior D&D. Oh, I like that one. That's a good one. There's going to be somebody in here that says, yeah, it is. We're going to start somewhere in here. It's going to come on, we're planting a lot of fuses, lighting a lot of lighters. We've gone to the trolling part of the show. That's fine. We could all get it out here, okay, amongst us friends. And then, we go back to our communities and be positive and don't drop the grenades. Keep them in your pockets, You know what? Keep these grenades in your pockets so when you're at a gaming convention and you run into somebody and it's kind of like dull and boring conversation and you just want to juice it up a little bit, like a little spice, little spice. Spice it up a little bit. Drop one of these. Michael Holland, LARPers can suck a grenade or play paper, rock, scissors to see if they successfully suck the grenade. He's kidding. Just kidding. Pineapple on pizza is delicious. Nubis, you have crossed the line. I am now going to ban you. Ban hammer on Nubis. Ba-boom. Chris, I can't give those words meaning in 200 characters. Jason Harris, I don't need a GM screen. I can line up my players without one. Oh, that's another one. Dice fudging. Is somebody, Orcus, are you writing these all down for our podcast fodder? You probably already covered them. Oh, man. Brian Kurtz, yes, GM screen. And the closely linked secret GM roles. There you go. Brian did mention it. Kudos to Brian. Credit to Brian. Their house, GM screen, yay or nay, it all depends, right, Sean? Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Orcus Dorcas. Paid GMs are a perfectly acceptable option. Playing online is my GM screen. There you go, Ty. Hey, I like that, Ty. That's another good t-shirt. Playing online is my GM screen. That's a good one. I like that one. Good job, Ty. I don't say that very often. Good job, Ty. Ty, you are firing on all cylinders today, buddy. No knocking on D&D. No chilling and slinging ICRPG stuff. Coming up with witty banter. Being aware of your typos. Dude, you are on fire, man. It's like a whole different Ty. Like, I don't even know who you are anymore. It's a safe space for all except Ty and Harrigan, evidently. Larry, I'd rather do it here than the Discord where Eileen can have my legs broke. There you go. I'll unban Hammer Nubis. Then we can go get pineapple pizza. Oh, boy. I have topics for weeks now. You're welcome. You're welcome. See, you just gotta crowdsource some of this stuff. You're gonna go on talking about stuff. That's why I have you guys here. The jig is up. You guys know the deal now. Oh man, I think you should make some grenade T-shirts for next Gamehole Con. GBS logo with grenade on front, saying on the back. Oh, Wayne, you will get a kick. You'll get kickbacks for that, buddy. I'll get you some percentage of sale. Won't be a lot, but hey. Pineapple is excellent on pizza and burgers. Ugh, what are you guys doing to me? Now you're just like trying to piss me off. Ryan was actually a slice of pineapple on a chicken sandwich is wonderful. Lettuce and red onions too. Grill the pineapple too. Ugh, it's turned into the pineapple show. Damn you, Nubis, you bastard! The grenade went off. It would eventually. Oh God. Larry says I'd buy that T-shirt. Dorcas says, okay, one more and then I'll stop. If you say you've never been on the Trove, you are lying. I gotta say I was a latecomer to the Trove. Like, I didn't know much about it. I think it came up with a few of my searches, but I didn't like raid that place. I think I rated it for stuff that I actually have. Like, I own the Star Wars role-playing game, and I needed the PDF. Guilty. There you go. Now it's on YouTube. Now I'll probably get banned. Oh, and it's turned into pineapple pizza talk. Yikes. Oh, God, I got to put an end to this. I can't. It's devolved into food. All right. And we're over time. I managed to stretch it out. I got to put some stuff on eBay. Maybe I'll put it on the Discord and see if anybody wants this stuff. I put a picture out there that stuff I'm going to unload. So this is my fault. Yeah, it is my fault, isn't it? Larry says, same. I needed PDFs of the books I already owned or planned on buying. Yeah. If I would have got PDFs for the Star Wars books, I wouldn't have had to get them. Oh, God. Still, now it's mango. Whatever. Is it all? So that pic, Sean, definitely caught my attention. Yeah, so I'm more than I got to put them out. I'll put pictures together and put them out on the server and see if anybody wants one or two of the things I'm offering. I still have to go through. I think I might right after I hook up or close the show is to open up my armoire and organize my books. See if I can get rid of anything else. I don't think I can. Who knows? I might even have a Free League book on the list. There you go. Fan of Free League doesn't mean I own all their stuff or like all their stuff. There's my professional impartiality. Didn't we have a community buy, sell, trade thread at one point? Did that die out? It did. Well, the forums are gone, Larry. The forums are gone. But that wouldn't be a bad idea to put them on the Discord. I don't know why we don't have one there. See a Zwiefer. Zwiefer. I gotta talk when I mention Zwiefer. I gotta talk it like I'm gonna refer to him like I talk like what the hell? The weasel. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Hey, Zwiefer, quit harshing my gig, buddy. The weasel. Quit wheezing my juice, Zwiefer. Sausage party. Sell Free League book? That's impossible. Yeah. Typo Master. Yeah, I don't know if I'll play Mutiny or Zero. There's not too much I can trim down more. There's not much more I can trim down. Pauly Shore. Jason got it. There you go. Pauly Shore. Grew up with Pauly Shore. Quit wheezing the juice. Quit wheezing the juice, buddy. Zwiefer. Assess the situation. Son-in-law. Polisher core. I was more of a son-in-law guy. Hey, buddy. All right, everybody's leaving. I might as well leave too. All right, we're gonna wrap this sucker up, right? I still haven't corrected Hoose's shit on this thing. I think I just do it to torment him. Sorry, Hoose. Hey, I want to thank everybody for supporting me. Some of these have to be updated, actually, because some of them dropped off. You little scoundrels. I appreciate all the support. And anyway, thank you so much. If you guys, here's the thing. If you know somebody that might like tune into this like every Saturday, like Chris was like, he knows me. He's like, I didn't know you were doing this every weekend. So if you think there's a friend or two that might like get a kick out of hanging out with you guys and, you know, showing up ass crack of dawn on a Saturday morning, U.S. time, you know, let them know. If you've liked what you've heard, and if you know what, if you haven't, you know the deal. Do that thing. Do the YouTube thing. Doesn't cost you anything. Oh, Nubis, did you just drop a flying pineapple emoji in the chat? Is that what that is? Son of a bitch. I'm going to get that guy. Oh, Kev, I apologize, man. I got to put you on there. Might be at the, is it? I have to remember. Yes, I will fix that. I apologize. I'm behind in that. So I will rescan my financial supporters. Sean, you're trimming down so you can buy more ICRPG books. That might be on the pile, Ty. It isn't yet, but it might be. I think I'm only holding on to it because it's got some good ideas in it. But I don't know if I'll run it as a game. I might mine it for ideas, which I think some people do as well. So anyways, we're going to start talking about it at the end of the MMP episodes. Oh, thank you, Chris. I really appreciate that. That's very, very kind of you. I really, yeah, Sean Kelly's endeavors. Yes, you have. Thank you, Chris. Yeah. So thank you very much for everybody showing up, partaking in the conversation. I only watch to see my name at the end, which that's a shortcoming of mine. Kev, I got to do that. Burn 2D6, guy behind Burn 2D6. I got to put that guy up there. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks to these people that have done it financially. I appreciate it. It is not required, but it does help. Thank you so much. That's all I got to say. Let's get out of here. Go do something, go game, go take some time to yourself, and remember, be a positive force in the RPG hobby. We'll catch you next week, Saturday. See ya.